Hello, welcome guys. Welcome back to Sound of Manchester. I'm Kushagr and we're here with another video. The topic for today is a little hatke, as we say in Hindi. We've tried to focus on the one aspect of Manchester United, which we as a team collectively felt isn't talked about enough and is quite a success story in these dark times, especially for the club and in the world in general. So we're going to talk about the MEFC women's team and it is a team which was only established a year and a half back, and it's seen a fantastic progression. It's the growth from the women's championship to the Women's Super League has been quite a remarkable journey, and we've in this little period of time the club has managed to develop superstars. We all felt really bad when we had our captain leave for Leon, and I'm sure our panelists that we have today are going to talk about that a little. And one of them, our Stat Prat, is going to mention her loss and mention other players whom he's been following very, very closely. So let me, without wasting any more time, I'll just introduce the three people with me today. We have, as you must know, our host and host Prathamesh. We have Atharv, who's our editor in chief, and he's making his debut on the video podcast for today. And of course, from back again from the last video, we have Anuraag. So I'll start with our debutant. I'll start with Atharv. First of all, a very, very warm welcome to you, Atharv. And just if you could tell our viewers and tell me as well about what have you felt about the progression of the team, as in how have you seen it grow from not existing 2 years back to actually coming into existence last season and actually now being one of the front runners in the Women's Super League. I won't say they're the top team yet, but it's a fantastic journey and a great trajectory that the team has been on.
Yeah, thanks, Kushag. It's great to be back after almost 4 months, and we are back with this thing. I'm all excited, and let's keep this going. So, yeah, answering your question, well, I feel the journey for the women's team from the championship to the top tier of the women's English football, that is the Women's Super League, has been absolutely top class. And it was like a bold statement from both the club and the ladies that just how we progressed through the league. I mean, we started a journey with beating Liverpool 1-0, and then there has been no way like looking back. I mean, also I feel it is fair enough to say that we are already one of the top teams in the women's football, at least in England. And I mean, just look at the progression. We have literally dominated the championship, and with Casey Stoney doing an incredible job, and Alex Greenwood given the captaincy in the first season. Unfortunately, like she left, but then we have been absolutely incredible. And if you look at the facts and the figures, in the first season we played 20 matches in the championship, and we won 18 out of them, and we drew one and we lost one both against Durham. So apart from that, we won championship with a 9-point lead over second place Tottenham, and to top it all off, we won the championship with an enormous GD of plus 91. That is absolutely crazy. And we scored a total of 98 goals and conceded only 7 in the championship. And just to tell you, the average per match was 4.9 goals. So that is absolutely incredible. And Jessica Sixworth was a top scorer with 18 goals, and she also won the Golden Boot in the first season. So it's pretty amazing for the inaugural season. And if I talk about the second place Tottenham team, just to highlight the difference in the dominance that we had. So the Tottenham team had a GD of only plus 17. So the stats and figures speaks volumes. So yeah, the journey has been absolutely immense for us, and we have progressed really well. And apart from the championship, I feel we had a decent run also in the Women's FA Cup and the League Cup, where we managed to reach the quarterfinals and the semi-finals respectively. And I feel in less than 2 years, we have truly made a mark in the women's football. And I would also like to add that we currently lie in the 4th position in the Women's Super League. And I feel it's a decent enough job because it's a first season in the top tier. And I feel we have a long, long way to go, and we'll be subjected to much more glory.
Yeah, completely agree with you, Atharv. It's been one of the few success stories at United over the past 2 years, consistent success stories. The fans have been really happy, and we've had some notable victories. You mentioned the Liverpool results. I also remember United winning a derby, if I'm not wrong. I think I'll get our expert here, Prathamesh, to shed some more light on it. Prathamesh, as we do call you a stat prat, but moving apart from stats, I mean, what has been your experience? I know for a fact that on a daily basis we keep discussing about the women's league. We'll be discussing on an international weekend, not about international matches, as in what happened in the Super League. So, just if you could tell us a little more about it.
Yeah, I think it was when Manchester United did announce that there was going to be a women's league, and I mean, we are going to be a part of the women's league. It was really exciting. It was great to see that Manchester United finally took the steps, and now last season was amazing. I mean, for me personally, I just made it a point to watch every game, and every game which was possibly which I could, because MUTV is not easily accessible here in India, and you only could see these games on MUTV. So that was really difficult, but yeah, it was great. We started really well. We won 12 nil in our first league game, which was against Aston Villa. And our first league game our first league goal in the championship was scored by Lauren James, who we're going to speak about probably sometime later. And what has been most interesting to see in all this, even this season, is that the core team, which consisted of Lauren James, Katie Zellum, Ella Toon, we have Amy Turner, Millie Turner at the back. So all these players who have been consistently playing well were signed in the first season in such a way that they were going to be good even in the Women's Super League. The team was built around a bunch of people who you knew when you go into the Super League, when you go into the Women's Champions League, they're going to give you a chance to do something great. And that is what is really exciting. Uh, we have signed Abby McManus this season from Manchester City. We have signed Lotto Ockles this season from Sweden. And unfortunately, yeah, we had Alex Greenwood leaving the club, but who would say no to Olympic Lyon in women's football? So, I mean, it's some really good signings. We have had one absolute world class signing in Jackie Groenen. I mean, I just love her. She's a fantastic box to box midfielder, and she's something which I think we really, really needed in midfield. But apart from that, I think the progression has been good because the core team has remained intact. This season, we have been really, really good. Again, Athar was talking about last season and us scoring 98 goals in the championship. I mean, in 20 games to score 98 goals takes a real uh, it takes real tactical understanding, and it takes immense amount of confidence in your own attacking play. I mean, last season you saw Alex Greenwood hardly in the defensive positions. She used to be forward all the time, all the time. She used to keep bombarding the flanks. She used to keep bombarding by making runs inside the box, shooting whenever possible. So it's just great how this team has been last season, and from there to come into the Super League this season. Obviously, we have had Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester City, teams who have been more established in women's football doing better than us this season. But what has been really noticeable is that Casey Stoney was able to adapt her tactics to the Super League. She was able to adapt the team mentality to playing in a different style of football in the Super League in the bigger games, and trying to be more expansive this season in the more lesser games. Like if you look at the total matches for Manchester United in the Women's Super League, we have had 20 so far this season. After 20 in the including your cup competitions, but in the Super League we have had 14, and we are on 23 points as it stands. We have had 7 victories, and we have also had 5 losses and 2 draws along the way. What has been really, really interesting to see is the kind of form which we have built over in our home games defensively, which has been really impressive. We have only conceded 6 goals in our matches at home this season, which has been really impressive considering the comeback which we've made into the Super League. But our away form is a bit worrying because defensively we haven't been solid away from home. But yes, we have been scoring goals either home or away, so it's really great to see that this team is doing well. We have scored 24 goals and conceded 11 goals only. So, I mean, away from home has really been our issue, and that is where we are looking to get better at. And Lauren James, obviously, she has been our top scorer this season with 6 goals, and Katie Zellum with 5. And that is what has really been impressive is the kind of performance that week in week out we have seen from Katie Zellum, we have seen from Lauren James this season. We have seen it from Leah Golden. We have seen it from Amy Turner. We have seen it from Haley Ladd. We have seen it from Kirsty Hansen. So all these players who have, some of them who have joined recently, some of them who were part of the team last season. But the core of this team is not just really good on the field, but it's really good off the pitch as well. They're very good friends of the pitch, and I feel that is what has really kept them going and kept building this team better and better every day.
All right, so that was quite an extensive and quite a succinct view of the whole situation that Prathamesh gave us, and I think the rest of our panel can just take a day off now. I think that's about it. Enough from Prathamesh. I think we all collectively won't reach there. But yeah, he did mention one of the very, very important factors in the progression and also in the continued success of the women's team, and that's the manager, that's the gaffer. We did wish her on our Insta page a couple of days back. We are lucky enough to get a response from her. But I'll switch on to the other panelists now. I'll go on to you, Anuraag. We've heard a lot of rumors about Casey Stoney being considered being one of the front runners for the England women's job. Considering the kind of job that she's done with United and the very high prestige that she's held in by the players and by her fellow coaches all across the different women's leagues, do you feel that there is any credibility towards these rumors? And also just your overall opinion about Casey Stoney?
Hi, Kushagr. So, talking about that, these rumors, there were also some experts who actually consider Casey Stoney to be good enough to someday manage a men's team. So, I think for some experts to even say that, I think it really speaks volumes of her caliber as a man manager, or as a it's again a gender thing now. I am wondering what is the right word to use here. But you get me. I mean, in terms of managing her human resources, that's perhaps the right way to put it. So she's done an incredible job with Manchester United in these last couple of years. Obviously, Alex Greenwood leaving was a very disappointing turn of events for Manchester United. But as Prathamesh said, who would say no to Olympic Lyonnais? Even after all of this, sometimes it can be difficult for a team to gather around when such a star player leaves, but she still kept the morale very high. It is very difficult for us to, for people who are not in and around the team to watch and judge a manager's caliber. It's a very difficult thing to do because we don't precisely know what she's doing inside the team, what kind of talks go on between her and the players or her and the management. So, but of the little things that we can pick up and come to a conclusion, I reckon she is a very strong presence in the team. She wants to be very vocal, and like Sir Alex Ferguson was once upon a time, he wanted to be the biggest figure in Manchester. And when you look at Casey Stoney on the sidelines, or when you look at Casey Stoney talk or give interviews, you get a feeling. Yes, she is someone who wants to be at the top of Manchester United, and she that is really admirable. I mean, as far as the rumors are concerned, now there have been some other major big names in the women's management in the last few years. Let that be Hope Powell, who's been such a legend for English football in the last 30 years. She's been associated with the team as a player and as a manager for almost 30 years now. And or let it be Emma Hayes, the Chelsea manager right now. They've been, even these people have been linked with, a possible chance of taking up a job in the men's team. But I was reading an interview of Casey Stoney just an hour before. She firmly believes that is not going to happen in her lifetime. We don't know how things are going to pan out in that regard. But let's hope something good happens with her. Uh, Something that I've also been very impressed with Casey Stoney is the attacking brand of football that she encourages. Uh, Both her fullbacks all the time, they're always high up the pitch. They're always trying to, put those crosses in, always trying to find the right person inside the box. So it's kind of reminiscent of how, I don't know how many fans would like this, but it's kind of reminiscent of how Liverpool are playing right now in the men's team to some extent. It's high pressing. The fullbacks 100% involved in the attack. Uh, as Prathamesh was mentioning, Alex Greenwood last season, she was so bombarding the flanks. These are certain aspects which talk a lot about our manager, Gaffer. So I think we are on the right track right now. With someone like Stoney, I really feel very optimistic about the years to come.
Yeah, I mean, you did mention something about women actually managing the men's team. I mean, if people like, okay, I mean, I don't want to get into something controversial here. If we feel like Mark Sampson can get women's jobs, and even
Exactly.
for that matter, if people like Phil Neville without any credible managerial experience, I know he was an assistant coach at Everton and then again at United and I think probably at Valencia as well.
Yes.
But without any credible coaching experience, if people managing experience for that matter, if people like Phil Neville can get a job, I don't see why someone who's actually genuinely qualified, who's handled the pressure of being at a club like United and someone like Casey Stoney cannot land a job. And Emma Hayes, as you mentioned,
Yeah.
Emma Hayes was quite famously mentioned as the future Chelsea manager before Lampard came in. And
Yeah.
again, we
Exactly.
probably see a bias there, some an ex player who's played at the highest possible level, who's probably one of the greatest players to ever play in the Premier League and probably one of the best players all time to play for Chelsea, Frank Lampard. But he got his break quite easily. I mean, I wouldn't say he had to struggle for it. I know it was in the Championship. I know he didn't straight away come into the Premier League, but hey, I mean, who gets the shot in the Championship anyway? There's still only 24 teams in the Championship, and there are
Exactly.
only 24 seats. And how many new managers are coming through? I mean, we can count them on our fingers. So let's hope it's her. Yeah, in this one regard, Casey Stoney's prediction doesn't come true. Let's hope we get to see some women managing the famous men's teams, and because there is absolutely no reason why they couldn't. It's about understanding and a feel for the game and having good man management skills. Shouldn't really be dependent on your gender or your sex. Shouldn't really
Exactly.
matter. So
Also,
yeah,
also talking about
moving on.
also talking about Casey Stone. Just another point I wanted to add. So United right now are a fourth in the Women's Super League right now. So if you take a look at it, Arsenal and Manchester City, they have a couple of men at the top right now. Manchester City have Alan Mahon, the interim manager, and Arsenal also they have Montenegro as their head coach. Uh, the other, um, if you look at it, only Chelsea are the only one who've been backing women managers for a very long period of time now. As we've been talking about Emma Hayes, she's been there for 8 years now. So that's one of the reasons why Chelsea have been consistently doing well this season. And a fact that Manchester United just came up and they're still trying to, I mean, they've put in some very good performances, especially at home. So that's really a positive sign for us.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope that this trend can continue. And Emma Hayes, you're right. I mean, I think if she were in the Premier League, she'd probably be the longest serving manager. I mean, 8 years.
Absolutely.
Who we don't see that anymore. Probably only Sean Dyche, I think, might just come close. So, just moving on to a couple of players who've really shown bright this season, and I'd like to jump over back to Atharv now, but because we were discussing about Jackie Groenen before the start of this podcast. So what are your thoughts, Sathar? I know you were burgeoning with some facts and some stats about her, and also Prathamesh also mentioned that she's been a breath of fresh air. She's been one of the best signings in in the WSL, if not just for United. So any light that you'd want to shed on that topic?
Well, definitely. I mean, considering the success we have had, it was so obvious that we are going to attract big names and talented players, and Jackie Groenen is one of them. And it's, like as a fact, Jackie Groenen is our first ever overseas player to play for us that we have signed. And that sheds a light on a lot of things. I mean, the first season the success that we achieved was purely with the homegrown players and the homegrown talent. So that's huge. And coming to Jackie Groenen, I mean, what a player she is. I mean, what a complete midfielder at the age of 25. And that's a huge, huge signing for us. And she's going to be a very important and integral part of the women's team for years to come. And apart from that, what I feel is that it won't be a problem for her adjusting to the English conditions at all, because she has been an ex-Chelsea player for 2 years. So she is used to all these conditions, and she has played in the WSL before with Chelsea. And apart from that, she has a lot of experience under her belt. Not just the club football, but she has been an Holland international since 2016. And she has been an important part and the first team player for Holland since 2016, making 61 appearances, and she also boasts runners-up medal from the 2019 Women's World Cup. So it's very, very exciting to have signed Jackie Groenen, and there's a lot more to come, and there's a lot more to be seen from her in the team. And another fun fact I would like to add is that we signed Jackie Groenen on my birthday last year, this 22nd of May.
Oh, we did. Oh, that was a great present, man. So yeah, moving on from one fantastic signing to a bona fide superstar, a player who's been probably burdened with expectations from the very beginning of her career, and someone that even a casual fan looks forward to when they're checking for scores and checking for stats, because Lauren James, as many of you must have guessed by now, Lauren James is someone we've all been looking at with eyes wide open, and just hoping for her to come good. There's been a lot of pressure on her, and one of her biggest fans is part of our team, and it would be really unfair if I didn't allow him to extensively explain his love for Lauren James. And so, Prathamesh, the floor is yours, man. Please do tell us about Lauren James. Educate the crowd.
I wish I did. Let me just tell you one thing. Lauren James is 19. She is just 19 years old, and she has been a part of two brilliant clubs in Arsenal and Manchester United. Last season in the championship, she was brilliant. But there is something about Lauren James that has really mesmerized people this season, both statistically as well as her game. Interestingly, at this point, if you calculate the expected goals from a player like Lauren James, she was expected to be scoring 3.3 goals so far in this season, according to the kind of chances which she has created. So, which means the chances that she has created from free kicks, from her shots inside the box, her shots outside the box, etc. So, the technical definition is that the possibility of a goal from a particular situation to the ball actually ending up being a goal once you take the shot. So, considering such situations, her expected goal was supposed to be 3.3. She stands at 6 goals right now in the Super League, which tells us the kind of preciseness that is there in the game at the age of 19, trying to finish chances. Any other player would have scored 3.3 goals. And these are all the top players from the Women's Super League. So she tops that statistic. Another interesting statistic is that she has 70% of her passing rate completion in the Super League, which is amongst the highest. And the highest part of that is her long balls. Her long balls are very precise. They have about 72% of success ratio, whereas her short passing has actually let her down in terms of her passing statistics. She has had 331 touches in the league this season. So when a player usually has 331 touches, how many times do you expect them to keep the ball? Kushagr, could you just give me a slight figure, you think?
I don't know. I mean, even the best players, you won't expect a figure above 220, 210, 230 maybe at the stretch.
Yeah, so she has had 331 touches in duels. She has kept possession on 322 of them,
My word.
which is an absolute crazy statistic. The kind of
Considering she's an sorry, carry on. Sorry.
she's 19. She's a short player, but she's bulky. What she does is, when I watched her for the first time in our very first game in the league against Aston Villa last season, I just felt there is something new among in this player. I saw this way back when there was a guy at Barcelona coming up, and I mean, I'm making huge words right now, but there was a guy coming up at Barcelona and doing wonders in this way. And when you talk about Lauren James, I just can't imagine comparing her with the great man Lionel Messi himself. If you would have seen the games, the way she just takes possession from midfield and almost walks into the opposition half and in the opposition box, it's just amazing to watch. It's as if when people used to describe Ryan Giggs, they used to say that Ryan Giggs used to glide on the pitch. He didn't run on the pitch. He used to glide on the pitch. When you watch Lauren James, you just feel like the she's not gliding. Maybe it's the pitch who's actually gliding, because there is no way she can move so smoothly with the ball with 3 or 4 players always in and around her, but still yet she finds a way to create a chance for herself or for somebody else. So this statistic that she has only lost possession 9 times when she has had the touch of the ball before giving it to someone else is absolutely crazy. She has had a lot of success, obviously, with dribbling. She has had a lot of success even in the defensive end of the game, where she has had a very good tackling success ratio for a forward player, that is of 29%. So for a forward player, that's pretty high tackle success ratio, considering the kind of pressing which they have to do and try to win the ball. You hardly win a ball once or twice in a game in that way. So she has been brilliant in that essence. And one of the most notable things which I feel about Lauren James is that she is very grounded on the pitch. I mean, you look at players in the men's game at 17, 18, 19, if they're doing what Lauren James is doing in women's football, trust me, they're going to be named as highly as Kylian Mbappe. You look at what Mbappe was doing at 19 and the kind of world star which he was. You look at Lauren James now. Lauren James at the age of 18 was considered to be playing for England, but Phil Neville didn't accept an 18-year-old at that time because he felt she is yet immature to play in the England national team. But the kind of game which she has in her right now, it's absolutely crazy. I mean, you name it. You name goals, you name assists, you name free kicks, you name trying to burst into the box from midfield. You try telling her that she has to supply long balls. So she's a creator, she's a destroyer of defenses. She can just glide past you. You will just never know what hit you before Lauren James hits you. And it's just amazing. And I mean, whenever you watch Lauren James, you just feel like, wow, this is perfect.
I mean,
I would like to. The thing I would like to add is,
carry on.
Lauren James is the younger sister of Reece James from Chelsea. So I just hope she doesn't follow his footsteps anytime soon, considering what a gem she is.
No, I think her contract and everything else would be very, 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 very much wrapped up within the whole United strata. I don't think they'd allow her to leave. I would hope not.
She has already signed a new contract this season, so I don't think that's an issue. She has signed a long-term deal with United this season, which has been really good to see.
Yes.
It was really important that she got that long-term deal. So yeah, I mean, I potentially look at a spine of Katie Zellum, Jackie Groenen. You have the Turner and McManus combination, or the Turner and Turner combination, and Siobhan Chamberlain. And let me tell you one thing: we have missed Siobhan Chamberlain due to the birth of her kid this season. But Mary Arps at goalkeeping position, replacing Siobhan Chamberlain, has been fantastic. Her ball distribution, the way she faces one-on-one situations, it's absolutely brilliant. She's been top-notch this season. And another unnamed, you would probably feel she's not being talked about a lot, but one of the top performers for us this season has been Hayley Ladd. She's signed this season. Her and Kirsty Hansen have been absolutely top notch this season. Kirsty Hansen from right wing, and Hayley Ladd probably plays 3 or 4 positions. I mean, she plays at right back, she can play at centre back, she plays at defensive midfield. She's also gone ahead and played at right wing at some point. So, I mean, the kind of versatility that has been built in this team is absolutely incredible to watch. And that is where I feel when you look at the future of this team, we have Jackie Groenen, as Atharv said a few minutes back, that she is the only foreign national in our team in terms of non-UK, in a non-UK context. So if you do look at signing players who are probably superstars, but who have not been at this point of time playing in England or playing in the way which they're supposed to. When you look at the game in England, it's more physical. You look at the game in the Women's Champions League, it's more about the grace and the power on the ball rather than the physicality of it. So if we can blend those two combinations, I think in the next 3 or 4 seasons, we can be seriously challenging for a Champions League title.
Oh yeah, so Prathamesh beat me to the punch. I think that was going to be my concluding question to all of you. First of all, thank you so much to all three of you. I think it's been a very informative video and very informative session. This, because at least I won't like to speak for other people. It's a good thing that I was the host for this video, because I think I just sat there as a fan listening to the three of you, because to be very honest, I have seen a few matches. I haven't followed them as rigorously as the three of you must have. And this is, making this video, preparing for this video has sort of inspired me. I'll make sure whenever the WSL is back that I don't miss any of the games. And I'm sure a lot of our viewers will do the same. So just as one of the parting questions to all three of you, I think Prathamesh mentioned it a little. I'll not go for the Champions League, because I feel there are 2-3 clubs in Europe which are very, very dominant, and with Lyon having mentioned Lyon being sort of the Real Madrid in terms of the Champions League. They've got like an inordinate number of Champions League, women's Champions Leagues, if I'm not wrong, and they have a collection of the best players in the world. Also know that the Barcelona and Juventus women's teams are not so bad either, even Roma for that matter, and Arsenal, City, and Chelsea in England. So just as a more domestic question, how many years do you all see? And I'll start with Anuraag here. How many years do you see that the Man United women's team will start regularly challenging for the title in the Women's Super League? And if you want, you can even give me an estimate for the Champions League.
It's difficult to say, but considering that this is the first season for us, and she's actually done a good job to keep us in the top 5. I actually wasn't really expecting that. I was expecting Manchester United to just about, lurk around the mid-table, but she's done slightly better than that. I think that's great. So usually what I was expecting when Manchester United was reintroduced, I was hoping that United could potentially be challenging for the title maybe around 2023, 2024, because you definitely need 4, 5, or 6 years of time to really be relevant among the other best team. That is bare minimum. That's what I felt. But if you're looking at the current progress, there is a good chance maybe perhaps by the 2021-22 season, I think United could perhaps be challenging with the likes of Chelsea, Arsenal, and City domestically.
That will be really interesting. I mean, it'll make a lot of our fans really excited. Atharv, what about you? Any thoughts on the challenging aspect for the United women's team?
Yeah, I do completely agree with Anurag. I mean, nobody would have expected us to like boom like this. I mean, all the club authorities and all the people in power above the manager and the board would have expected to do a decent job. I mean, they would have been fine with even if we would have finished second in the championship or anything like that. And but we have been absolutely immense. And to add to it, we have been out for almost 13 years from the women's football, and now after 13 years making such a bold statement has been immense. And I feel in 2-3 years we'll be a top team, at least on the domestic level, definitely. And we will be challenging for the titles very soon, sooner than we are all expecting.
Oh, lovely. Just rounding it off with you, Prathamesh. What about you? I know you gave us your Champions League prediction to be around 4 to 5 years. What about the WSL? Do you think United can have a tilt at the title, say, next season or the season after that?
I think Kushagr, it depends a lot on the fact on how we go about not just in the transfer market, but how next season potentially starts. Because coronavirus really hit the women's football more badly than the men's game. So it all depends. Next season might be iffy. There are a couple of positions where I feel the women's team can get better, which is left back. Obviously, we lost Alex Greenwood, but we replaced her with Lotta Oquist. But Martha Harris has been taking more offer there. I feel personally that we need a better left back, and we need someone who plays a proper number 9 role. I think Lauren James is more suited to her midfield game, but she plays more slightly as a centre forward or as a false 9. I think again Messi-esque position. So I think we need a proper number 9 and a proper left back before we really challenge for the titles. Irrespective of that, I think when you look at Chelsea and Manchester City, I feel the kind of performances these teams have been putting on, it is difficult to put them of those blocks unless this United team really keeps generating this kind of performance week in, week out. So I would possibly go 3 years from now for us to really win the league title. And in a similar span, when we keep building this team, so when you keep building great players, when you keep bringing up better players, I think the chances are going to only improve to not just win the league, but also compete for the Champions League at the similar time frame. So I feel in a similar time frame of around 3 to 5 years from now, I feel this women's team is capable of doing something really great because all the players in this team are currently 24, 25, 26. So when they really peak out, I mean, Lauren James is yet to peak. It's a long time before she peaks out. But when these players peak out at their best levels, I think that is when we are really going to challenge for the title.
All right. The future is really hopeful. Rather, I would say the present is really wonderful for the United women's team, and I just hope we've been able to shed some light. I keep repeating that phrase because it's really important, because I just feel we've been a little in the doom and gloom about what United have been doing and how sky high our expectations are of the club. This is a massive success story. I mean, considering, as Atharv mentioned, so after a 13-year absence to come back, just absolutely rampage the other teams in the championship and now hold their own in the Women's Super League, wherein you have teams which have visible more investments within them. We've been hearing about the Arsenal women's team, sweeping everything within England for quite many years. The City team have come back, and Chelsea have always been a success, like a stable, successful team. So it's been a tough ride for United, but their results are something that we can all be very proud of, and we can all be very hopeful of the future. So I'd just like to thank you all for tuning into Sound of Manchester. We are trying to make more content which is a little offbeat, which is not your usual content. Of course, we'll continue with a podcast weekly. That is not going to change, but we're going to try to introduce elements which are a little different. We had an interesting attempt at trying to record a quiz. I think we'll be able to tell you more about it in our next videos. But do stay tuned for that. Our quiz master, by the way, is Anuraag, so I'm sure he'll have something up his sleeve for the next time that we do record.
Yes, absolutely.
Once again, thanks. yeah. So as
Something
I mean,
I'd like
Anuraag,
to add.
Yeah,
Yes,
Atharv.
sorry to interrupt you. I'd like to add that I would just urge and request our followers, subscribers, and viewers to follow the women's team just like they do follow the men's team, because they're doing a tremendous job, and their achievements and their glory is no less than the men's team.
Without doubt, without doubt.
And
I
also,
couldn't
and also to
couldn't
the
agree more.
people after listening to what we have said today, if you want to get some Lauren James jerseys, please do get it, because you're going to keep it for a long time and you're going to really, really cherish them for a long time. So, just go ahead and do that.
Who knows? It might just be the jersey of the next women's Ballon d'Or winner. Who knows? Because I know it's a huge mantle to hold, but I feel she's very well on her way to being in the conversation for amongst the top 5 players in the game overall, and at such a young age and performing at such a huge club in probably one of the best leagues in the world. So I would really hope, I really encourage everyone, spend on the merch and do watch and follow the women's team once again. Thank you so much to all three of you, Prathamesh, Atharv, and Anuraag. It's a pleasure, as always. And thank you once again. Please keep it locked to Sound of Manchester. And thank you so much for watching.